Good afternoon, David.
Good to be back with you, Trudy.
Yeah, wonderful to be speaking again. Well, certainly a lot in the news to talk to you about. Why don't we start off with language? Because I think in the Anglophone community, this is going over like a lead balloon. The comments by the French language commissioner says that he thinks 85% of the province's CJAD students should be taking their courses in French, and that means less teaching in English.
Yeah, well, obviously, I understandably this is a lead balloon for the English-speaking community. Another bat and ball for the Legault government to use to reduce funding, to reduce spots, and in this game of one-upsmanship with the Parti Québécois on who's the most ultra-nationalist. Now, I want to add to this, though, Trudy, that this is not going to go over very well either on the Francophone side. Because, no, but seriously, when you look at the CAQ and the Parti Québécois targets in terms of the Francophone electorates, you're talking about mainly, almost exclusively, baby boomers in regions. They don't have kids in school. And when you talk to Francophone parents who actually have kids in school, their goal to give the best education possible to their kids is to, yes, obviously, elementary, secondary is going to be in French. But once you get to CJAD, they want their kids to learn English. You have to know English and to be able to communicate in English if you're going to be able to get a decent job and have a competitive advantage in a highly, highly competitive job market, not only here, but outside Quebec as well. You need English to function in this world, regardless of your political stance in Quebec. So this is something, yet again, where the Legault government, this language commissioner, is about the lowest common denominator and basically making us as a whole less competitive. And this is very serious. And I would say when you look actually at the numbers, the real numbers, the problem why French is in decline. The true problem, the number one cause of the decline of French in Quebec, you know what it is, Trudy? Look at the test scores of Francophone students in secondary education. That's where the main problem is, because they are on Instagram, they are on TikTok, and you see it across the board. The numbers in terms of Francophone music, Quebec Francophone music, are way down. The consumption of Quebec Francophone culture is way down. Who used to consume that culture? Francophone. And the Francophone and the younger generations are just not there. And so that's the big problem. So here we go again, scapegoating English institutions and going to use this as another reason to reduce funding. But the problem, the real fundamental problem here is that what we're doing is basically just like cutting funding for McGill and Concordia, just like trying to add these ridiculous red tape requirements for companies with the French language. It's making us as a whole less competitive, our workforce less able to perform well in a modern world, and ultimately we are all the losers, and not just in the short term, but in the long term as well.
Okay. I'll try and bring my blood pressure down.
No, no, but I get it. But when I read this, I'll add to this. If you're an average family of four, two kids in the suburbs of Montreal or Quebec City, you see this as the headline today in the Francophone media and tomorrow morning in the papers in the Francophone media, you're going to roll your eyes because your primary concerns are what, Trudy? It's the cost of living. It's the cost of housing. It's the shambles in which our education system and our healthcare system is. And so here we go again talking about language, but when you keep polling Quebecers, what is the number one issue? What is the number 2, 4, 5 issues? Language isn't there. But the thing is that right now, for the CAQ to get back in the ball game, they have to bring back those ultra-nationalists that are gone to the PQ, and that's the battle right now because Liberals aren't on the board. QS certainly isn't on the board. So that's where the battle is right now. It's for those older baby boomers, Francophone voters, those nationalists in the regions that can make a difference in the 26th election in a lot of key CAQ ridings.
David, flipping to federal politics for a moment, the announcement this afternoon, Randy Boissonnault stepping down from his position in the Trudeau cabinet because he's been accused of being a pretendian, I think they call it, claiming a First Nations ancestry, which the claim was a little dodgy. So he says he's going to carry on and clear his name, clear up the thoughts about him. Was it right for him, do you think, to step down? Was he just becoming too much of a distraction for the Trudeau Liberals?
Well, obviously, this comes from the Prime Minister's office, and so from the Prime Minister's office perspective, this was obviously a preoccupation. When you're that low in the polls and you're trying to change the message and you're trying to be on the offensive and rebuild confidence with your electorate, the last thing you want is these ridiculous issues. I mean, this is just plain bad staff work. I mean, wasn't this vetted at all at any time? I mean, obviously this must have come up. This should have been verified, and even there's also a question of personal responsibility. I mean, we've had several of these instances in Canadian society where high-profile persons have been basically told, who have basically found out is, basically making false claim about their status. And so, didn't Randy Boissonnault know that this would be eventually, verified? And on top of that, there's these allegations regarding a family company benefiting from that alleged, status or pretend status or by adoption status. I mean, again, this is more about, okay, what are you doing here, Randy Boissonnault, letting these vague situations get out of hand? And also, why wasn't this verified?
I think in answer to that, I think there are two things at play. First of all, I think Randy Boissonnault thought no one would dare because that would be racist.
But that's been done before now. We have some precedents,
Yeah,
right?
we do, but still, sometimes the optic, depending on how it's handled, the optics are not very good where you say to someone, are you sure you have First Nations roots? Are you saying that, I can see that being problematic. And then I think the Liberals were just salivating too heavily over the fact they could claim they've got an Aboriginal candidate running, that they didn't want to look any deeper.
But there are no shortcuts. See, that's the thing. There are never these shortcuts, and you got to do proper vetting, and you got to verify these things. And I think more and more now, these claims have been verified in the past, and we've seen high-profile Canadians lose their image and their status because they made up these claims. Now we'll see, but to let it get to this point again, there's something about vetting these candidates and these MPs and these cabinet ministers in a much deeper way, because this could have been prevented. This is an unforced error by the Trudeau government.
Well, yeah, you're probably right about that. Thanks very much, David Heurtel.
All right. Always a pleasure, Trudy.
All right.